Hello friends, today I'm going to dive into the very important topic of what to do when a land contract is paid in full. You've probably heard of land contracts, but understand there is a ton of nuances that come with land contracts. A common question that is asked is, what do you do when a land contract is paid in full? Well, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to do when a land contract is paid in full and how to protect your interest and secure full ownership of the property, or what steps to take if you're the one selling the property with a land contract. Whether you're the buyer or the seller, when you utilize a land contract, there's going to be questions that come up. Have you ever wondered what happens when the last payment is made on a land contract? What should you do whether you're the buyer or the seller? What's the process for transferring ownership? Stay tuned as I break this all down for you by first explaining and defining what a land contract is. Secondly, I'm going to explain what real estate strategy I utilize when I use land contracts. And finally, what should you do when a land contract is paid in full? If you're ready, let's go. A land contract is a legal agreement for a seller finance purchase that doesn't involve any bank or any mortgage lender. Instead, the buyer makes periodic monthly payments to the seller until the sales price is paid in full. A land contract is sometimes called a bond for title or a contract for deed. So what is the angle if you're a buyer and you're looking to utilize a land contract? Well, it's definitely an alternative for buyers that maybe don't have the ability to get financing to purchase the home outright. So they'll need to buy it from the seller and have the seller become the bank versus traditional financing options. And why might those situations come about? Well, if you have a buyer that experienced any financial hardship, maybe they've had a short sale of property, maybe they've been in foreclosure, maybe they don't have enough credit history to buy the home, or maybe their credit has been impacted by various different factors previously. Or if they do not have enough money for a down payment, but definitely have enough money to make those monthly payments. And there's a lot of different reasons. I am a business owner, and one of the challenges I have every year is I'm trying to make my business look like it's not making as much money as I can, because that'll help me on taxes. And there might even be a year where I claim a loss, but in doing so, trying to get a loan is almost impossible when you're not showing very much income or profit coming in. So there's a lot of reasons why somebody might not be able to get a traditional loan, especially if they've been through any financial hardships. So a land contract is a great way to solve that problem. So how do these land contracts work? So because there's no traditional lender, and if you've ever done a loan with a bank before, you know how long and tedious it can take. So land contracts are much more efficient, they're quicker, and they're cheaper than the process of getting it done through traditional financing means. And because there's no bank involved, the buyer and seller are the ones who actually negotiate the interest rate, the sale of the price, the loan term, down payment amount, the cadence of monthly payments, and even a balloon payment if necessary. A balloon payment means that at some point in the future, there's going to be a requirement to pay the whole loan off or refinance it so the seller can receive all of the money for the home at that point. That's when a balloon payment is. It means at a certain point down the road, there's going to be a requirement to pay off the loan balance. And because this is a legal contract to buy the home, the buyer is responsible for maintenance, taxes, and insurance. Now, here's where it gets interesting. In a traditional land contract, the seller retains ownership of the property until that final payment is made by the buyer. However, in a wraparound land contract, meaning that there's an existing mortgage on the property, and whatever the seller receives from the buyer, he's got to then pay the existing mortgage and he can keep the difference. That's a wraparound land contract. So what strategy am I utilizing land contracts in my investing today? What I've seen and where I've seen this work well is something in a strategy called slow flips. So here's a slow flip in a nutshell. I'm looking for discounted properties in the Midwest below $70,000. And I'm looking to get these properties 25 to 35% below market value or asking price. Now, because of that, I'm putting a bunch of offers out there and getting very few accepted, so maybe 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 15. Once I have that property under contract, I'm immediately looking to close and buy the property with cash. And I'm getting that cash from a private money lender who's loaning that money to me at 8 to 10%. Now you might say, there's nobody that will do that. I've got 2 that are lending the money to me right now where I utilize that in my slow flip strategies. Once I close on that property, or as I'm in the process of closing, I want that property to be one that I can move into immediately with no major damages or any fix-up that has to be done. If it's a few $100 or $1,000, I'm okay with that. But while I'm going through that inspection period, while I'm going to close on the property 30, 45 days down the road, I am looking for somebody who will buy the property from me at the current market value. So let's say that I got a home for $50,000 that was listed at $70,000. I'm going to turn around and try to find somebody who will buy it from me for $70,000. Then you say, well, why would somebody do that when you got it at 50? Well, it was listed at 70. And if I can be the bank for them, where they don't have to get traditional financing, that is a very unique option that somebody might say, listen, if I don't have to get a bank loan and I can just pay you and I don't have to make a large down payment, I will do that. And so in order to gauge in that transaction, I utilize a land contract in doing so, right? So I am trying to get my payments to the private money lender amortized over a 5, 6, or 7 year period of time. But I'm lending the money to the seller who's buying it from me over a 30-year period of time. Now, I'm going to charge a little higher interest rate, and because I need their payment to supersede what I'm paying to my lender, then I've got to kind of figure out whether it's a 5-year term, 6-year term, 7-year term back to my private money lender and make sure that their payment supersedes that. But because it's a land contract, they're responsible once again for the taxes, maintenance, and insurance on the property. So the payment I receive from them, most of that's going to go to cover the payment to my private money lender. But here's the cool thing. I'm financing it as if I had a car, so 5 to 7 years, but I'm financing it to the seller over a traditional mortgage. Once that's paid off in 5 to 7 years to the private money lender, all that money comes in to me directly. And typically I'm trying to get that to $900 to $1,000 that they're paying me every single month. Now, I might put a balloon payment in there where it has to be paid off in a certain amount of time, but if they're making payments to me, and here's the benefit of a land contract if you are the seller. If for any reason that seller to you stops making payments, they do not get any of those payments back. They forfeit all those payments they made to you. And because of this land contract, you have the ability to act as a landlord to evict them from the property, but none of the landlord responsibilities like taking care of maintenance or taxes or insurance. That's why a land contract benefits a seller so much. And that is one of the risks to the buyer by utilizing a land contract, is because they forfeit, if they stop making payments, all the previous payments that they made. So once your land contract is paid in full and you are the buyer, what should you do? Number one, file the deed. The deed is filed with the appropriate government agency, usually the county clerk, to officially transfer the legal right and legal title into your name. Second thing you want to do is prepare the closing documents. These may include transfer affidavit, title deed, closing statement, and title insurance. But preparing all those, having all those things in it is very important. And then there might be additional forms. And that is something I would definitely counsel with a real estate attorney. Because these seems to be tricky, this is that big of an investment for you, I'd make sure that you get some advice and counsel from a real estate attorney. Now, if you're the seller and the contract is paid in full, what should you do? Well, as I mentioned with the land contract, the seller retains legal ownership of the property until that is paid in full. So once that last payment is made, you as the seller will then help the buyer to finalize that deed and the transfer of ownership, and obviously sign all of the closing documents. It really is that simple. One of the reasons I'm a big fan of land contracts, especially on the strategy called slow flips, is because of the fact that I don't have to treat them like I'm the bank. If they stop making payments, which is one of the challenges as a landlord, especially if you're getting somebody in on the property that maybe has a challenging credit history. I mean, they have that credit history for a reason, and if they have trouble making payments or stop making payments, and you can evict them like a landlord versus going through a foreclosure process like a bank, that is one of the immediate benefits of a land contract. So these are things that I've seen beneficial as a land contract and what to do when it's paid in full. But I'd be interested in your feedback. What have you done with land contracts? What benefits have you seen? Comment below. Let's engage in a dialogue. And as always, just for stopping by and watching this video, I have a free gift for you. It is a short-term rental calculator. You input the price of the home, the income, the expenses, and this software will actually spit out to you whether it is a good deal or not. 100% free, no obligation. Just click on the link below, aaronsfreetraining.com. Thanks for stopping by. Have an amazing day.